Alright, this week's episode is going to be on the Liberty V nickel, and let's just kind of just tell you how it came about. As you would have seen in the last episode, they made the Shield nickel up until 1883, but they realized there were long-standing production problems. It was hard to make the coins. They were getting a lot of problems with them, and the design wasn't really what they were thinking of. So they wanted a replacement. So they had the mint engraver at the time, Charles Barber, made a design for a 1, 3, and 5 cent coins. However, they only adopted the 5-cent coin design, and they ended up, being a new thing. They wanted to change it up a bit, and what happened was the first year, this is a first year Liberty V, and you'll notice it has the word cents under it, and I actually grabbed the wrong one. That's the 1909, so we'll do this backwards actually. You notice it has the word cents under it, and that's a nice looking 1909 V nickel. So now here's the first year issue, which is in 1883. This is a very nice looking coin as well. And you'll notice that down underneath the V it says E pluribus unum. It does not say 5 cents for 5 cents. And the reason why they ended up changing that was because in 1883 some people would gold plate them, try to pass them off to merchants that weren't paying attention as a $5 gold piece, which would have been around the same size. So what they did is they in the same year, so in that year there was 2 types. In the same year, what they did is they moved E pluribus unum to the top, and they added in cents at the bottom. So that's really the history, and then it was eventually replaced by the Buffalo nickel when the 25-year rule had passed, which I don't know if you know what that is, but it's you have to have it in circulation for 25 years before you can change it, or else you need an act of Congress to do it. So it eventually got replaced by the Buffalo nickel. Alright, the design of the Liberty V nickel. The front of it has a Liberty head. She has a crown on, and it has Liberty in the crown, and it has 13 stars around it on the obverse. And the reverse has a V around some agriculture around a reef. And it says United States of America around the outside, has E pluribus unum at the top and cents at the bottom, unless you get the first year, which the only difference is that E pluribus unum was at the bottom, and there was nothing up there, and then there was no cents. Alright, the designer of the Liberty V nickel is Charles Barber. His father was William Barber, who was also known. He learned most of his craft from his father. His father was the chief engraver of the mint after James B. Longacre. He succeeded his father and became the next chief engraver at the mint. And he was the one that produced this design, the Liberty V design. A little bit about him. He basically got a lot of his knowledge, a lot of his background from his father being there. And he also created, at the same time, he created what was to be known as the Barber series. And the V nickel is part of the Barber series. It just didn't pick up the name Barber because it had a different look than the quarters and the halves and those had. So now we're going to go on to specifications. Just like the Shield nickel, it weighed 5 grams. It was made of 75% copper, 25% nickel. It was 21.2 millimeters in diameter, and it had a plain edge. So it's the same. You'll notice a pattern here is the nickels had the same weight, same shape, same dimensions and everything through most of the series. Same thing with the cent. When they made the small cent, once they got to the Indian bronze version, it's been the same weight all the way through, except for the one-time steel kind of thing. Alright, mint marks. They were all made at the Philadelphia Mint up until the last year, the 1912. They made them at the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. And where you would find the mint mark would be under here. You see the word cents. It'd be right under this dot over here. Would be where the mint mark would be, and it'd either have a D or an S. Alright, mintages. The mintages are fairly big for these. They had over 1 million produced for every one of them, except for the 1912S. And if you want to build a set from, say, I'm just going to say the 1890s, like 1890 all the way up to 1912, including the Denver, you could do it for like $100, $150. They are very low priced. Very low priced, except for the 12S, which is the rarer one. But a lot of those were in the tens of hundreds and tens of millions. Like from 1887 to 1912, Philadelphia's they were making 20, 30 million of all of them, and it was because vending machines were one of the reasons they were becoming very big. And also the without cents and with cents, they made 16 million with cents and about 5.5 million without. So the without is a little bit rarer than the with. So the mintages are pretty good. Alright, key dates to the Liberty V Nickel series. Obviously proofs are going to be key dates. Also the 1885 and 1886 are going to be key dates, and the reason why I believe they got like destroyed or they didn't put out a lot of them. So they ended up, they did make a good bit. They made $1.5 million and a little over 3 million those 2 years, but I think a lot of them just didn't get out. A lot of them got worn, and there's not a lot of them out there, so they go for pretty decent money. And the 12S is the lowest of all of them. And in the low grade, it starts out at about $175. And of course, there's the 1913 that's infamous. That there's only they weren't supposed to be made, and there were 5 of them made. But we're not going to get into that into this episode. That would be a whole thing on its own. If you want to hear about that, we can make a video just on that. But that is the Liberty V Nickel series.